My name is Heather Adams. I'm the CEO of Rock and Bloom. I own the business. I actually founded the business about 10 years ago with my partner.
My name is Jessica Beuker and I work for Rock and Bloom. I am their content strategist. A content strategist, for those who maybe are unfamiliar with the term, at the bare bones of it, I'm a writer. Predominantly, I'm doing writing for web. So any content that you see on a website, that would be written by someone that's in my role. But it also often includes things like social media, email campaigns, maybe scripts for radio or television ads.
I'm Matt Horning. I'm a UX strategist and developer here at Rock and Bloom. My role here at Rock and Bloom for at least the past 4 years has been as a developer. So what I do mostly is code. Anything that we do here for clients, which is very wide-ranging, just building anything they need. Anything that kind of relies on technology really is what I do. Conversely, from a UX strategist perspective, UX meaning user experience, what I'm trying to do is create a seamless experience for anybody who's using our products.
So Rock and Bloom, as a creative studio, we work with a variety of clients all across the world, really. The majority of them being in Saskatchewan because that's where we're based. But we get to work with clients and help them elevate their business and their brand. So maybe they're working on a marketing campaign, or maybe it's a brand new business and they actually don't even have a name for their business. We help them get one. We also help them build their brand identity. So everything from a logo to any kind of print piece, digital piece, anything that a customer might interact with.
Oftentimes businesses will come to us and not fully understand who they are, or they know who they are, but they don't know how to say it, and they don't know best how to convey that to the world. And that's sort of where we come in, is helping them hone in on who their audience is, who they're speaking to, what they want to say, and how they can say that in a powerful and effective way.
In our workplace here, we work in an agile environment, which essentially just means we break our work down into sprints, and a sprint is about a week long. And then at the end of every week, we just kind of just retrospective, where we look back and say what worked, what didn't, what did we get done, what did we not get done. We try to fix anything that maybe is in our way, and then we just keep going. We go to the next week.
Every day is a little bit different, which is part of the reason that I love my job so much. The typical work day honestly depends, I guess, on what the kind of project or task is that day. It's a lot of writing in any day. It might be writing for web, it might be writing for like a radio ad, it might be writing for social media, so you're kind of always having to switch your tone a little bit.
It changes all the time, and honestly, that's one of the things that I love the most about my job, is that it's not monotonous. I'm not going in and sitting at my desk and doing the exact same thing every day. I get a chance to go out into the community, I meet with business owners, and I help them kind of make their dreams come true, and understand their problems and help them fix them.
I started by going to university for cellular biology, and I did my degree thinking that I was going to go into research and I was going to, solve some sort of problem until I did my master's for about a month. And then I immediately was like, this is definitely not for me. Growing up, I was always on computers, near computers, knowing how to use them, really trying to find those intricacies with it, until a friend of mine kind of was just like, you do this all the time, why don't you just do that for a job? But sometimes growing up in a smaller city or in a place where that doesn't necessarily happen in front of you, it doesn't really click in that that's a job.
For me, I completed my Bachelor of Commerce degree at the University of Saskatchewan, and then from there worked in a variety of different marketing roles. But my degree was actually in human resources, and the reason that I pursued that is I kind of felt that regardless of what path I take, I need to be working with people, and I need to be working with people that kind of rally behind me, and we all work together to create some really strong results.
There isn't necessarily one straightforward path to getting here. And I think one thing too that helps a lot is experience. Like, I also freelanced for a long time, right? So building up your portfolio, you don't necessarily need to have like a super fancy degree, I think, to get into a role like this. Rather, I would say it's better to kind of put yourself out there, take on jobs, be a freelancer for a bit, see if you like it, see writing about different topics, how that fits, and build up your portfolio, because at the end of the day, that's what people are going to be looking at if they're going to hire you, is how can you tell a story and how good is your voice. My advice for people getting into this profession would be to be curious. Don't assume that you know anything. Ask questions, be open-minded. In a field like this, you're going to be kept on your toes, and you're always, it's an interesting one being in a creative field too, because I feel like you can never really master your craft. You're never going to be perfect at it, right? There's always, so definitely be curious and be open, and you kind of have to have a bit of tough skin as well to realize that, you know, there's always going to be areas to improve.
Looking back, often you hear people guiding you based on how you perform in a particular class. And I think what I realize now looking back is, okay, I did good in certain subjects, but what actually kind of has brought me to where I am and has given me the success is, yeah, just more so understanding what makes me tick. So I played soccer growing up, I danced, and it was, you know, working with my soccer team and being captain often and understanding that team really fueled my energy. So not just the subjects that you're taking, but what else are you doing, or what kind of little nuggets about your personality can you start to learn? Because if you find that, it's so much easier to find your passion too.
Qualities for programming, problem solving obviously is the big one, is having that need or that want to take something apart and put it back together, and hopefully in a better way if necessary. But that's the biggest thing for sure. As well, there's kind of this weird sense of language with programming where you code, and so you're working in a different language. You know, instead of marketing where you're quite physically working with like an English language or whatever your native language is. For programming, you're just kind of speaking to a computer in a way that makes no sense to anybody else, and that has to kind of be enjoyable for you. You know, if you go to a programming class and suddenly you're just typing a lot of symbols and that's interesting, then like great, then you're in the right place. But if not, it's going to be really tough.
I think for any role, whether it's entrepreneurship or not, you learn so much from working elsewhere, even if it's in a completely different field. You actually learn more about what you want when you're in something that you don't like. So don't be afraid to try things out and test it out, because you learn so much really rapidly that way.
I think a lot of times kids feel a lot of pressure to have everything figured out by the time they're 18 years old. And I'm 31 and I'm still figuring it out. I've really only been in marketing for 4 years. Prior to that, it was something else. Prior to that, it was something completely different. So sometimes you have to figure out what you don't want to figure out what you do want. And also keeping in mind that as you grow and evolve, your dreams and goals are also going to grow and evolve. You're going to change.